Hey everyone, welcome back to More Precious Than Rubies. I'm Ariana and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Today's theme is one that I think affects so many of us, body image. We're going to be exploring how body image has evolved and changed over the years, and more importantly, how we can build healthy, honoring habits around it. So I can't wait to dive in with all of you. Before we get started today, if you love More Precious Than Rubies, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more encouragement throughout the week. And if you love the show, don't forget to share it with a friend. That's one of the best ways that you can help the podcast to grow. All right, let's jump into our first segment of the day, What's Good? Our first story for today, you might have heard of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Well, after 20 years, the Big Brothers Big Sisters program has opened back up in New Orleans. The program was forced to shut down in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, as you might remember, but now it's making a powerful return, bringing mentorship, encouragement, and hope to local kids who need it most. And what's really exciting is that more people are actually stepping up to volunteer in that gap, especially Black men whose involvement has increased by 7%. Now that's huge because representation does matter in this program. Having mentors who understand kids' struggles and experiences can be life-changing for the kids in the program. Now nationally, the program serves approximately 400,000 kids, with about 55% of them living below the poverty line. But there are 30,000 children on the waiting list across the country, so volunteers are needed. I actually encourage you to go visit the Big Brothers Big Sisters website to see if there's a program in your area that needs help. And since relaunching in New Orleans, the program has already made 15 new matches, pairing boys and girls with mentors who meet with them regularly, whether it's at school, over a slice of pizza, or just tossing a football around or a soccer ball. It's simple, but it makes an incredible impact for these kids. And the best part is that mentorship isn't just about the kids. In the article that I'm referencing in the Good News Network, one former mentor, Trymaine Lee, was recently reunited with his little brother after nearly 2 decades. And he said, quote, "People think it's all about the youngsters, but he poured into me as much as I poured into him," end quote. That's just such a powerful reminder that when we invest in others, we grow too. So maybe this is your sign to be a mentor, to step up, and to change a life. Now, I have a confession to make for this second story. I live in San Diego, and I live just near the beach. And some of you, I know some of my listeners live in the city or way far past the beach. And I'm someone who, since I was a kid, I never really liked the beach. I know that whenever I tell people that, my friends or colleagues or work friends, they're always shocked at that fact that I'm not really a beach person. There's just something about being sticky and sandy and dirty that I'm not really a fan of, but I am someone who is always very enthralled at how beautiful the ocean is in general, especially places like Hawaii or places where there's clear blue water. And so I'm sure that, like me, you've thought at some point in your life, wow, the ocean looks just like a painting. Well, NASA just released a breathtaking visualization of ocean currents that has people comparing it to Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. This comes from a project called Perpetual Ocean 2, which is part of NASA's estimating the circulation and climate of the ocean, or ECHO model. Unlike their original 2011 version, this new visualization doesn't just track surface currents. It maps the deep ocean's movement in a stunning, swirling display. I'll put a picture up on the screen so that you can see what I mean a little better. Now, what makes this even cooler is how NASA created it. They used real-time data from satellites, buoys, and deep sea instruments to map the flow of ocean currents. Then they released virtual particles into the model, allowing them to move naturally with the water. The result? A mesmerizing dance of blues and whites showing the power and beauty of the sea. Now, one NASA scientist described it as a way to, quote, "see the strongest currents in the world, which are squeezed into narrow belts on the western side of each ocean basin," end quote. Now, again, even though I am not a beach person or a ocean person necessarily, I just think that there is so much that we've yet to explore about the ocean. I mean, think about all the crazy fish that amazing divers and scientists have discovered in the past years that we knew nothing about. Deep sea. I mean, there's so much of the world's oceans that have not been explored yet, just simply because of the condition that we humans can't enter into it. And so I think that there's a beautiful mystery to the ocean. And so this is such a fun way to visualize it, I think, because it combines the beauty of human artistry with natural occurring beauty. And so whether in a painting by Van Gogh or in the swirling currents of the ocean, I definitely think there's artistry all around us. And if you weren't inspired already, get ready to be inspired because our next story is about a 10-year-old boy who's literally saving lives. Jack Dawson, also known as the mini medic, and ever since he was a toddler, Jack has been obsessed with being a paramedic. His grandfather runs a first response company in England, and Jack grew up riding along in ambulances, fascinated by the flashing blue lights. By the time he was 3, he was performing CPR on his teddy bears. Now, Jack's parents saw his passion and started teaching him first aid at a young age. He soaked it up like a sponge, quickly mastering CPR, different recovery positions, and even how to use a defibrillator. And he didn't even stop there. By age 7, Jack was leading his own CPR training workshops, teaching both kids and adults how to respond in an emergency. Now, at just 10 years old, Jack holds regular training sessions through his family's charity, Tamworth Have a Heart, which helps make defibrillators accessible to the public. His motto, quote, "If I can save a life, then you can too." And people are actually listening to that motto. His classes can have anywhere from 20 to 100 people on average, and he even gets special requests to teach in classrooms. Jack is also a social media star. He actually runs a YouTube channel and a TikTok page where he posts medical tutorials so that more people can learn life-saving skills. Because of his incredible work, Jack is a finalist for the Children of Courage Birmingham Awards, and he's already dreaming about going to university to become a paramedic. His story is such a powerful reminder that age doesn't limit our impact. And speaking of powerful people, let's move on to what's her story. Today, I want to introduce you all to Carmelia Jackson-Hurley, a name that you might not have heard about before, but a woman whose impact deserves recognition. Carmelia is the executive director of Louisville Girls Leadership, where she empowers young women to reach their full potential. On top of that, she's a licensed therapist and the owner of House of Soul, a private mental health practice. Her work in social service and community building speaks volumes about her dedication. She's not only making waves professionally, but she's also been recognized with numerous awards, including a Kentucky Colonel's designation and being named Master of Social Work Student of the Year in 2021. Now, Carmelia has been nominated for both Today's Woman Most Admired Awards and 40 Under 40, which is a true testament to her influence and leadership. Now, what stands out most about Carmelia is her passion for uplifting young women in her Louisville area. She teaches them about healthy lifestyles, self-empowerment, and leadership. Despite balancing her responsibilities as a therapist and a mother of 2, she's always there for the women that she mentors. Her nominators describe her as one of the kindest, most inspiring women they've ever met. Many even refer to her as a second mother during their high school years, showing just how deeply she connects with others. Carmelia Jackson-Hurley's unwavering dedication to her community and her compassionate heart make her a true role model for all of us. She's a living example of leadership, mentorship, and sisterhood, and her work continues to inspire and empower those around her. In 2024, she was named the most admired woman in the community and sisterhood category, and it's totally easy to see why. If you want to learn more about Carmelia and the work that she's doing in Louisville, I'll be linking the article in which I received this information in the show notes. And I think that her work with other young women is going to play a big role into what we're talking about today on What's Trending. So our What's Trending segment for today is about body image. And I know that this is a topic that has evolved and changed on social media. I think that it's impacted the way that a lot of us view our body. And especially over the years with social media shaping how we see ourselves and how we perceive other people. And right now, there's a growing conversation about embracing health over appearance. There's been a shift away, I think, from unrealistic beauty standards towards sustainable and healthy habits. And I think that there's been a challenge for all of us that while body positivity has made progress, comparison is definitely still a struggle. I've talked about this with several guests in the past and how social media has changed the way that they view themselves and their bodies. I think that all of us know that filters, highlight reels, and beauty trends on social media can make it tough to feel content with how each of us look. But I think one thing that I want all of you to hear today, if anything else, is that our value isn't found in a number on a scale or how we look in a selfie. It's the value that each of us bring to each other and ourselves in our own lives. So today I want to talk about how we can cultivate that healthy perspective on body image. Now, I don't want to speak for all of you today, so really what I can do is bring in my own perspective and hope that it can kind of be something that maybe you can relate to and hear how I've been working on myself over the years as I've become a teenager into a young woman. And I think that the first thing that I want to point out is that I've had to shift my focus on what my body can do rather than just how my body can look. I think that a lot of young women, as they maybe started in high school sports like I did, and maybe have gone through their college years into their young adult years and gotten busier, they've gotten married, have kids, and now their priorities have changed, right? When we were in high school, it was easy to just say, oh, I'm going to go to sports practice and get a workout in because it's something I do every day. But now it's more of how is my body being used to get me through my day, to get me through taking care of other people, to get me to do my job every day. And I think that there have been habits that we maybe used to have, like I said, high school sports, or maybe going to the gym that have fallen by the wayside and it's been hard to get back on it. Something that I have kind of learned to do myself is that I had the habit of going to sports every day, whether it was volleyball, track, band. I think that I've had to mentally have it be a habit in my mind. I think that if I hadn't started my habit of doing sports when I was in high school, I don't know where I would be right now with my habits of working out. If you know me, you probably know that I go to the gym almost every day. And I really do try to make it a priority for myself to do something active at least 5 times a week, if not more. And so I think that my love for the gym and working out has grown. And I think I do want to be sensitive too, though, to the fact of being able to work out. I know that a lot of people aren't able to physically do things that are active or keep them as active as they would want to. And so I want to encourage you that just be thinking about however you view activity or your body or keeping in shape for you and how your body allows you to do that. Please don't hear me as saying that I'm ungrateful for the way my body allows me to work out. I'm very grateful for it. But I know that there are people who can't go to the gym, can't work out. And so I want you to just hear the things I'm saying with a sensitive heart. I do want to have a sensitive heart to that. I'm lucky that I've been able to have a healthy body that's been able to allow me to go to the gym on a daily basis. And I'm thankful that I have a husband who's studying physical therapy. And when I first started going to the gym, I started going in high school. He was the one who learned how to use all the machines and how the machines affect our muscles and how we should properly use those machines for different muscle growth that we want to have. And so I'm very lucky that my husband was the one who was able to teach me how to use all the machines, because I think that that's a big thing that deters women from going to the gym. I think that a lot of people that I talk to, even women who go to fitness classes, they don't want to use weightlifting machines because they are self-conscious about going in and doing things that are going to make them feel silly or look silly. And something that I want to say to you personally, something that I tell anyone who ever says that is, this might sound blunt, but no one cares what you're doing, or honestly, no one should care what you're doing, right? If you're in the gym, I know for me personally, I can speak for myself. I'm going to the gym as a way to have an hour out of my day that's just for me and just for my mental health and my physical health. When I go to the gym, I'm literally not paying attention to what anybody else is doing. I think maybe, yeah, if someone was like dropping a weight on themselves, right? Like I would go over and try to help them as best as I can, but I'm literally not paying attention to what anyone else is doing. And I want to use that as kind of an encouragement to you that if you're someone who's going into the gym for the first time and you're nervous to use equipment, people shouldn't be paying attention to what you're doing. And so I want to use that as an encouragement for you to just try it. Go in and look at the pictures on the machines. That's what they're there for. Ask an employee if you're brave enough to how to use a machine. And if you know me and if you're someone who's wanted to try out the gym, I would love to help you learn how to use the machines. I think that is the biggest thing that keeps people from trying a new activity or trying a method of working out, is that they just don't know how to do it. So I would encourage you to find someone who does know how to do that activity, or look it up on YouTube on how to do those things. There's so much free access to gym people now. And again, I do want to reiterate though, a lot of times those people are on a highlight reel, or those people, yes, are knowledgeable, but they're probably in what I would consider would be an incredible shape. And I don't want you to see that and use it as a deterrent to not do it yourself. I follow people that are in way better shape than me. And sometimes I have to mind check myself and be like, this person could have a completely different genetic makeup than I do, and their muscles just develop different than me, or their body fat is different than mine because of the way that their genetics are, because they have more time in their schedule. Maybe that's their full-time job, and it's not my full-time job, and it's probably not yours either. So when you're looking at gym influencers, which I encourage you to do if you're nervous about going to the gym, find someone that maybe matches your body type that's in the gym, that can make you feel encouraged rather than self-conscious. That's what I do when I look for creators. I tend to look for ones that have similar body types to mine, maybe that are a little bit more fit than me, so that I can use it as encouragement. But then I don't leave myself feeling self-conscious after I'm done watching their videos on using a machine or seeing what they're eating in a day. And speaking of what people eat in a day, I think that something that has been often discouraging to us is diet culture, and how I've had to learn to fuel myself with good things, healthy food, movements, and positive thoughts. So I want to talk about the importance of protein to start. Again, this is something that my husband taught me a lot about when we were going through working out and cutting for our wedding, was the importance of nutrition and protein for women. I think that you've probably heard this on social media now, just again, because of how many fitness influencers there are that exist. And what I'm saying is probably you've already heard already. But I think what I notice is that so many people don't realize actually the amount of protein they're intaking. And especially like maybe in the opposite direction too, like sugar, carbs, or fats. Something else I want you to hear too is that I never want you to view fats and carbs as a bad thing. As a woman, our bodies are very different than men, and the nutrition sources that we need for our bodies is completely different. And so again, I encourage you to find someone that has a similar body type to you and research what they eat and what's best for their body. Again, if you're someone who has a health condition, your diet might look different than mine, and that's okay. But what I've known for myself and what I've had to kind of reteach myself is that fats and carbs are okay and important for my body to heal when I make muscle tears, when I work out. And that's what's needed to rehab my body, and especially to keep regular periods going. But again, I do want to point out that you should really track just to see what you kind of eat on a daily basis and see where you're at with protein, carbs, fats, and sugars. Those are the main things that I always track for myself. I don't track my calories on a daily anymore. What I do generally when I start a new meal plan is I'll calculate everything out, see where I'm at, and add or subtract based on what my goals are. And so something that I would encourage you to do if you're new to meal planning, just check your protein. If you're someone who's trying to build muscle or lean muscle, I really do encourage you to use protein as your friend. Protein is the most fulfilling food group that we can eat for our bodies, and it's going to keep you full. Carbs, again, are also a great filling way to do that, but choose a good carb for your body. I think when I first tracked my protein, I realized that I was getting like half of what I thought I was getting. And it's really important to get more protein than your body weight. So my goal for my protein on a daily basis is 140 grams of protein. Now I'm actively trying to build muscle, but again, I think that even if you're trying to lose weight, protein, from my research and at what Adam has told me, protein is a huge game changer when it comes to your health and keeping up your goals. I think the third thing that's been really important for me over the years, learning how to correct my body image, is speaking truth over myself. And I'm very lucky that I have a very supportive husband who is very complimentary to me. And I have a great group of friends that's very encouraging and complimentary too. But I think if you're someone that doesn't have that community, you're all you have. And I think it's super important if you're someone who's on social media and find anxiety or comparison in that platform, something I would encourage you to do is just go into your profile and select accounts that are triggering for you and select that you're not interested or unfollow those accounts. Because at the end of the day, if you're someone who doesn't have a community that can rally around you and inspire you and just be the truth that you need to hear, then you really are going to be your only hero. And at the end of the day, right, like, we're the ones looking at ourselves in the mirror when we're getting ready, right? And so what I said earlier in the video of that we are not the number that we see on the scale, and we are what our bodies allow us to do through the day, living, breathing, working, playing, hanging out with friends or our spouses or our kids. That's the thing that's going to encourage you the most when we're down. So again, get rid of those people that are discouraging for you on social media and really start to think about, what does my body do for me that allows me to get through my day and enjoy and take in the joys in life. I've had my fair share of insecurities throughout my life. I had really bad cystic acne when I was in middle school. And I think that played a huge role in the way that I view insecurities in myself, and kind of how I viewed working out, honestly. Like I said, I have a great group of friends who never spoke about anything like that in front of me, never made comments about my skin. I told them that that's something that I was insecure about, but they were always encouraging to me, and same with my husband. And so even though I had a good community of friends and a husband who has supported me through my insecurities, there were definitely times where it affected the way that I was around other people. I often didn't want to go anywhere without face powder on. I would hate walking around with my face clean. Whenever I forgot my makeup, I would feel terribly insecure inside. And even my mom, especially, was super supportive of my acne journey. We went to so many dermatology appointments to try to figure out a solution. One of the things that I tried in college was Accutane. Some of you may have heard of Accutane. It's a really strong acne medication. And I remember that whole journey of college. I was broken up from Adam at the time, and so I didn't have one of my bigger support systems, but I was making new friends that were supportive of me, and I had a great community in my class. And so during that time when my face was changing and healing, but also one of the symptoms of Accutane is that you get really dry skin around your mouth, your hair gets pretty brittle, your face is extremely dry and tight. And so there were days when I couldn't wear makeup just because of how painful it was. And that was a really healing experience for me, because as I could see my skin healing, I really was trying to work on healing my insecurities of my skin. And as I did get older, it did get easier to go out with no makeup on because my cystic acne was healing. But I'm just forever grateful for the friends that I had and my husband and my mom, who were always sensitive to me and my insecurities about my skin. And I'm proud of how far I've come with viewing my skin as it is. I have scarring that's going to always remind me of how far I've come, but I'll always be proud of myself and thankful for my community that's been supportive of me in that journey. So at the end of the day, I think that something that I just hope that we can all hear and reflect on is that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Each of us have a story to tell with our bodies, and there are things that are going to try to distract us from the power that our bodies hold, for the things that get us through the day. And there are going to be people who have limitations to their physical health. So I want to be sensitive to those people, and I want you to know that I see you, and that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made, and that we all have bodies that have made our stories different in one way or another, right? And that's what makes life beautiful, I think. And so if you have a story that you want to share with how body image or social media has impacted that, I would love to hear your story. Let me know in the comments below. And something that I think that we can just go through and think about this week is that what's one way that we can appreciate our body this week as we're either going to work out or taking a week off, or maybe you're just someone who doesn't like to work out. What's one way that we can appreciate our bodies and the way that the things that they do for us? And then the second thing is, how can you encourage another woman to see her beauty beyond appearance? I think that, again, social media has infiltrated so many things. Beauty filters, beauty campaigns from different brands can all infiltrate the way that we see ourselves. And so what's one way that we can be impactful to another woman in her body image this week? So with that said, thank you all so much for joining me today. If this episode was an encouragement to you, be sure to follow More Precious Than Rubies on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an update. Until then, you're worth far more than rubies. Set about your work vigorously with arms strong for your tasks. Open your arms to the poor and extend your hands to the needy. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised.